going to quickly run you through how to create a guide in Subjects Plus version 4. So here we are, you've logged in, you're on the splash screen. We'll go to Guides and we'll do New Guide. So you have an option to copy an existing guide if you want to use that as a starting point, but instead we're going to create a new one. So I'm going to call this, I've already got a Canadian literature one, so we'll call it Nova Scotian Literature and NS Lit. So we have the title of the guide here, which is what's going to show up at the top of the page, and then this short form is what's going to show up in the URL, in this kind of area of the page. And I always recommend that you use something that that makes sense, because that's what your users are going to see, that's what they're going to type, and potentially that's what Google is going to use for its search engine optimization. So you can choose the type of guide. We have 4 types right now at UM. There's a subject guide, which is maps onto the subjects being taught at the school. There's a course guide, which you would presumably map to an individual course. So the distinction might be you have an English literature guide as the subject, and you have a English Lit 101 guide as a course. Topic kind of would be anything else that doesn't fall in that. So maybe you have a special guide celebrating Nova Scotian culture, and it's not really a subject, it's not really a course being taught, so you make it a topic. And the fourth one we have is this placeholder guide, which is something we use internally just for guides we need to create for some reason, but we don't want to show up on any of our listing of guides. Here we have a couple of different header types. You might start off with just a default one, but we have our main one for the University of Miami. We also have one for our Cuban Heritage Collection, and we anticipate building different headers for some of our other branch libraries that have different looking websites. And it just means that you can toggle back and forth between having it match any parts of your site. The next thing is the visibility, and I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but the public guides are there, people can see them, they're listed in the listing of all the guides. The hidden guides are ones that maybe you don't want showing up in your listings, but you still want people to be able to get to them. For instance, you want to share the URL with someone, or it's for a class that's not being taught this semester, so you turn it off temporarily. And then the suppressed you just can't get to. The parent guides, we haven't really done much with this yet in the software, but it's there if you want to create some sort of parent-child relationships. Save button up here. You can add staff members. So by doing that, if you want more than one, there always has to be one. So I can't delete that person until I've saved it. The metadata information is what will show up kind of hidden in the meta fields on the page for the guide, and then it might show up depending on how you've styled the front end. Finally, there's this redirect URL, and that's if you have a guide, say you've got like a paper Pathfinder from long ago, and you haven't replaced it with an online guide yet. Well, you could point to the URL for that, and you'd still have the listing for that guide show up in your listing of all the guides, but it would take you somewhere else rather than the default, NSLit page. So, and then this thumbnail stuff, let's not worry about that. So what I'm going to do is hit save, and you'll see at the top it says, we've got the feedback bar, or the kind of pinky purpley bar, and it says add content to your new guide. So you click that, and what it does is it takes you into a blank new guide. So I think we'll save what to do once you're in the guide for a separate video. So I'm going to bring this particular video to a close. Thank you.